Lukáš Dostál shows up again. Cutter Gauthier heating up. That and much more on this episode of Locked On Anaheim Ducks.
You're Locked On Ducks, your daily podcast on the Anaheim Ducks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome, everydayers. Thanks for making Locked On Anaheim Ducks your first listen every day. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I am Kyle Carr. I'm a lifelong Anaheim Ducks fan, and I've spent multiple years covering collegiate sports, including college hockey. But today we're talking Anaheim Ducks. We got to talk about Lukáš Dostál's performance against the Oilers on Monday night, and then we got to talk about the way that Cutter Gauthier is heating up right now. And then we're going to look at some comparisons and rankings of where the Ducks are this year versus last year. But first, to start things off, we got to talk about Lukáš Dostál, the Dost Wall, and his performance against the Oilers. Granted, the Oilers did not have Connor McDavid or Leon Draisaitl in the lineup. They still brought the offensive heat. Dostál made 47 out of 49 saves yesterday. That was according to the Ducks broadcast, because if you look at the NHL website today and other stats sites, it says that there was only 47 shots for Edmonton. But I'm going to go with that higher number, as 47 out of 49 sounds pretty good. This was the second highest game. If it was 47 shots, that's the second highest game of the season of shots that Dostál has seen. So a little unfortunate that the Ducks gave up so much in front of him, but he did stand tall as the Ducks walked away with a 3-2 win. In the last 10 games, Dostál has played. In the last 10 games that Dostál has played, because he hasn't played all of them, he has seen 275 shots and has made 242 saves. That puts him at an .880 save percentage in those 10 games, giving up 33 goals. He has had an average of about 3.63 goals against average this entire season, and he has seen an average of 27.5 shots a game in just those last 10 games. That was the average shots seen. This season, though, he has an average of 30 shots a game. That is so many shots that he is seeing, and he has just been getting lit up back there. And overall this season, though, he has an excellent save percentage. So it's unfortunate the last month or two has been going down a little bit, but he's been seeing so many shots per game. It's to be understandable. And it's his first season playing this many games, with Gibson being out for injury and Ville Husso just now coming over to the squad. He is in his 4 years of playing with Anaheim. He has seen an average of 30.75 shots per game. That is absurd. This guy is seeing so many shots a game. He is locked in. He's got to be locked on for this team, as they have been struggling a little bit with allowing that many shots per game. But luckily, Dostál has been up to the task. He is at a .903 save percentage on the season, and that's with 51 games played. So he's doing really, really well for how many games he has been playing. He's had 2 shutouts in his career, one of which did come this year against San Jose. And that's a hard feat when you're seeing an average of 30-plus shots in your entire career. You got to give him all the credit there. He has been just an absolute bright spot for the team and keeping the Ducks in the competitive state that they were in for that last little stretch of the season before they were eliminated from the playoffs. Absolutely love this guy. He's such a cool, calm, collected guy, and he's been showing it every night when he's been showing up for this team. Last year, Dostál was tied with Vasilevsky for the most shots seen. That was a game where he saw 57 shots and made 55 saves against Toronto. That was January 2024. So just out of the calendar year, but still, that was an absolutely insane game. I remember that one. He was setting the bar up high. They were looking for if he was possibly going to get to 60 shots that game. Just an absolute barn burner that the Leafs put on the Ducks that game. So far, Dostál's highest shot count this season was against Colorado, and that was in October, which resulted in overtime loss, and that was with 49 shots against. However, Dostal only made 45 saves as the Ducks did lose 3-4 in overtime. Dostal is currently ranked 9th among all goaltenders in the AHL. That is insane. He is technically a rookie goaltender, at least when it comes to being a bona fide starter for the entire season. 9th among goaltenders is in beautiful, beautiful stat to see his name right there in the top 10. And ironically, he is just below a former Anaheim netminder and Anthony Stolarz. Anthony Stolarz is ranked 8th, but has not played as many games as Dostal this year. So Anaheim goaltenders are up there making a record for themselves. And right now, Dostal has a .973 save percentage for low danger shots this year, a .866 save percentage for medium danger shots. And this is where he's kind of getting burnt a little bit, is his .781 save percentage for high danger shots. So whenever there's those really risky high danger goals, they're most likely going in against the Ducks. So that's where it's really important for the Ducks defense to step up and really put the hurting on the teams in front of them, as once they get into those high danger areas, Dostal's lacking a little bit. But when you're seeing 30 plus shots a game, it's totally understandable. And the game against Edmonton, since that was the most recent, with how many shots he did see, it was just watching him play, watching him stay cool, watching him stay collected. He continues to just be a force back there. He's got one of the best gloves I think I've seen in the league. He can just whip it up, get some nice glove. Once he gets that read on the lane, most of the goals that were scored recently have been either kind of ridiculous tip-ins or just shots that he didn't get his eye on. But when he does actually see the shot go off and he sees the release point, you can pretty much guarantee that Dostal is going to save it, which helps the team a lot more playing in front of them. They have been a little lacking on the shots that they've given up this year. They're kind of ranked up high, as we'll get into later in the episode, but the shots that they're giving up per game is not good when you're trying to be a playoff contender. So the defense needs to lock down more. But when it comes to the goaltender and the netminders for the Anaheim Ducks, you do not have to worry. It's unfortunate that John Gibson has been out quite a bit this year. Seems like every time he comes back, he ends up with injury within a couple of games. He is getting up there in the age, but this is usually when goaltenders become their locked on, no pun intended, era of their careers. And I would like to see Gibson not be as injury prone, but unfortunately we can't have that this year. We can't have our cake and eat it too. They are one of the best tandems in the league when the two of them are healthy. And the Ducks have been very, very lucky this year. I don't think they could have had the rise in their points and the rise of success that they had this year if it wasn't for Lukáš Dostál. The nickname just flows off the tongue. And John Gibson. Luckily, we do have Ville Husso. He's been playing pretty well down in San Diego. So we'll see if he gets some ice time coming up soon. Dostal did get pulled 2 games ago after getting lit up with 3 right off the hop. But we'll see how he does moving forward and just finishing out the season. I think he's got plenty of play time in front of him, plenty of growth in front of him, and he's part of that younger core of this team. And the more that those guys become collabs and become more cohesive, and you can see it, I've mentioned it before, that this locker room has been really taking over in their personality types and the way that they are on the bench together and the way that they talk to each other, the way they're at practice together. You could see it's growing. McTavish gave credit to Lukáš Dostál for his shootout win that he got the other night, because they practice after and they always are messing around on different things. And he just loves seeing shots and loves being out there trying to help the boys out. So love having him on the Anaheim squad. Thank goodness for him. And it's great to see that he was able to put up such a high save performance against the Oilers, as the Ducks could have easily gotten blown out. It looked like they were about to give up a 3-1 goal lead as well, again, like they did to the Sharks, but they stayed in it this time. But the guy that put them on the board for the 2 goals out of those 3 was Cutter Gauthier, and we're going to talk about how his season's been looking coming up next. You just realized your business needs to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Well, it's easy. Just use Indeed. When it comes to hiring, Indeed is all you need. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other sites. Indeed sponsored jobs put your post at the top of the page and help you reach the right candidates faster. When you need a project done, like I need people to help with editing on some of my videos, some of my photos. I just got to go spend some time with some family. I got a lot of pictures I need to go through and videos to edit. So I need an editor. I go to Indeed. I find the right people that I need, post it up there. I get someone that actually knows what they're doing and not someone that's editing something completely different than what I'm asking them. So now you can speed up your hiring process with a $75 sponsored job credit. Just go to indeed.com/locked on right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast, Locked On Ducks. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring Indeed is all you need. Now we are back talking about Cutter Gauthier. This guy has been an absolute asset for the Anaheim Ducks ever since that controversial trade from the Flyers after he basically came out and said, I will not play for Tortorella. Get me out of here. Anaheim picks him up, and he got a couple goals his first few games with Anaheim, and now he's been lighting it up. He is getting locked in right now. Cutter has 41 points this year with 17 goals and 23 assists so far. He scored 2 of the 3 Anaheim goals against Edmonton, and one of which was an absolute beauty. He burned the defenders outside to the left, just completely puts on the Jets, muscles his way right down to the middle, backhand roofs the goal just to put the Ducks up 2-1. Just a complete beautiful shot. I love to see the effort that Cutter's been showing. He's finally really getting comfortable with the way he's able to skate with his speed. He's really getting that confidence. You can tell earlier in the season, when I first kind of came over here on Locked On, I talked about how Pat Verbeek mentioned that he feels like Cutter has some speed that he's not really capping into, that there's a lot more potential with him, and he just needs to get confidence in utilizing that speed and aggressiveness that he has. And he has been doing that of late. You can see in the way that he's calling for pucks, the way he's supporting off the rush. When he actually has the puck, he's able to keep it on his stick. He's just fighting dudes off. It's a complete improvement on the season for him this year. And he's one of those guys that's helping drive the bus for the Anaheim squad and bringing a lot of personality and a lot of culture into the team and helping these younger players, and himself being a young player, they're just starting to gel really, really well. He scored, like I said, he scored 2 of the 3 Anaheim goals against Edmonton. And ironically that he's got 2 goals in that last game, but the beginning of his season this year was completely rough. He had such a slow start when it came to getting points. Not for trying. He was putting in shot after shot after shot. At one point, he was leading the lead with how many shots he had versus not a goal scored. And it took him 5 games just to get his first point. His first point took 5 games, and then he didn't get his first goal this season until his 16th game. 16th game that took to get his first goal with all the shots you could think of. It was just like snake bitten was not even the way to describe it. It just, the hockey gods were not on his favor trying to get him a goal at the beginning of the season. But since then, he's been doing really well. In October, he had 4 points. And then in November, he had 6 points. And then in December, he had 7 points. So you can see just some steady growth there once he finally broke the barrier for getting on the score sheet. And then in January, he did drop down to 4 points. And in February, also had 4 points. But there was only 7 games in February played by Anaheim. So 4 out of 7 is not too bad. But then in March, he just completely took off after that Four Nations tournament. He had 13 points in March. Just complete take over, most of which were assists, but he's been scoring as well for himself. And now in April, he has 2 goals. So only a couple games played in April, and unfortunately no points in the previous games until he did get the 2 goals against Edmonton. Just another player that has been outstanding to watch, and I cannot wait to look at the future and the way that he's going to be on the team, and the offensive prowess that he's going to bring and the physicality that he's going to bring. A big change that probably led to the explosiveness in March and now April. He did get moved up from the line. He was down with not McTavish. He was down with Zegras and Colangelo. We were calling it at one point there was the McTavish. I'm getting my lines all mixed up right now. They've been mixing a lot lately. It was McTavish, Cutter Gauthier, and Sam Colangelo, as there was the Mac and C's line that everyone was questioning about, because all of a sudden Colangelo was scoring, Gauthier was scoring, McTavish got on the score sheet. But the biggest change that happened was a little mix up there where Cutter Gauthier and Trevor Zegras swapped spots. So Zegras was up with Karlsson and Killorn, and then they brought him down to be with McTavish and Colangelo and Nestorenko when Colangelo did go out. But ever since that change, I think both lines have shown a complete improvement. Gauthier is able to bring a lot more speed with Karlsson and that kind of more physicality that Zegras doesn't really have. Not saying that Zegras is a slow player and he's not a physical player, but there's just a little extra bite that Cutter Gauthier has that seems to be really gelling with Karlsson's play style a lot better. And then there's the bond between Zegras and McTavish is a massive, massive change from him being with Karlsson and Killorn. Like, you can just tell that there's something between Zegras and McTavish. I remember when they both started playing together, everyone was talking about how like Zegras was this lively, just a character making jokes, just wouldn't shut up. And then McTavish was just kind of this stoic, just stone of a man, not really talking much, but just really like serious about his work. But you can see that each other have kind of rubbed off on each other. Zegras knows how to be a little bit more serious at the right times. And McTavish obviously has been a lot more of a jokester and a lot more loose out there. And it's been leading to a lot of success. But coming back to Cutter Gauthier, who, like I said, he's just been an absolute tear lately. He's been lighting it up. He's been finally getting into his boots. He's broken in his skates, if you will. And it's just been taken off. He has 173 shots this season and 66 hits and 45 blocked shots. There's only 2 skaters on the team that have more shot attempts than Cutter Gauthier, and that's Frank Vatrano and Troy Terry. So completely a great goal scorer, or at least an offensive creator that the Ducks have with Cutter Gauthier. And unfortunately, he has the second highest giveaway. So I got to give him a little burn. He does have the second highest giveaways on the team, just below the captain of Radko Gudas. So you can't give him all the credit. There's still a little bit of tweaking that needs to be done. It's all right, Cutter. I forgive you. Just keep bringing the offense, so it'll be okay. And he is 6th in scoring with just 1 goal away from Alex Killorn. So he has 17 goals. Killorn has 18, and there's a 3-way tie in front of Killorn with Vatrano, Terry, and Karlsson at 20 goals. And now McTavish has broken through from the 4-way tie that there was to now have 21 goals, leading the team in goals after scoring the game winner against Edmonton, which another beauty shot by McTavish. Blocked the shot, gets a little breakaway, and just roofs this shot, giving the Ducks the lead, which ended up being the game winner as the Oilers did start coming back on that 3-1 deficit. But low mold, all to say that Cutter Gauthier has been an absolute bright spot for the team. So glad that he did come over from the other orange team to the right orange team, the orange country team of the Anaheim Ducks. And I cannot wait to see what next season entails as he gets even more time. He gets to take that confidence from this year, gets to build, gets to work out in the gym, do some more power skating, really just get the full NHL experience after a full year. He's one of the only skaters, knock on wood here, that has played every single game for Anaheim. So if he can play a full 82 season and have the success that he's having this year, that can only surmount to so much more next year. And speaking of next year, we should take a look back at last year and kind of compare where the Ducks are this year to last year to really get an understanding of just what type of improvements the Ducks have or maybe haven't made in certain categories. So we'll get to that after this. Ever check your bank account and wonder, where'd all my money go? Because I definitely do. Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in. Just your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app, it's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place. So you don't have to just manage your money, but you can start actually building wealth with the dashboard on Monarch Money. I can put all of the different accounts that I have. I've had a few of them just through my career and times that I've had to open a new bank account for this or that. And I get to actually put it all into one place, check it all out, make sure I'm not spending on 15 different Netflix subscriptions or whatever it is that's going on. Monarch Money puts it all right there in front of me so I can make sure I'm doing the right things with my money and building my wealth up and not just putting money into savings or thinking I'm actually saving money, but now I can actually know that I'm making wealth out of my finances. So take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNHL at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONNHL for half off your first year. Welcome back. And now, time to look at what has happened this year in regards to the rankings for the Anaheim Ducks compared to last year's rankings for the Anaheim Ducks. This year, the Ducks, with their rebrand, brought a whole new energy into the rink, whether away or at home. You could just feel that the new logo, the new colors, there was also a new energy amongst the players. There was just a completely different vibe this year compared to last year and the year prior. So let's see, where have the Ducks ranked this year compared to last year? Right now, the Ducks are currently 24th in the league with 76 points. The Ducks finished last year in 30th with 59 points. They have almost 20 more points this year than they did last year, and there's still a few games to play. Who knows? They could break that 80-point mark this year if they keep their success going. We'll see how it goes in the last few games. They do have a lot of challenging opponents coming up, most of which will be in the playoffs this season. So a lot of competition coming up for the Ducks, but another stepping stone to build towards next year if they can be successful in these last few games against some of these harder opponents. The Ducks right now are 28th in goals for and 22nd in goals against. Would like to see a little bit more improvement there, but last year the Ducks were 30th in goals and 30th in goals against. So they're 2 points above in goals for, and they're 8 points above in goals against. So the defense has been a little bit better on locking things down. But I think a part of that, you'll see it, the kind of the stats that it looks like shots lead wide are a little bit more down this year. The goal scoring not as present this year as last year, as there was a bunch of teams that had 50 plus point guys and a lot of goal scorers last year that didn't get as many goals this year. But that's just lead wide. The Ducks are currently 32nd in power play percentage. That means they are dead last. They have the worst power play percentage in the entire league. And as you know, we've been talking about it all season long, how abysmal the power play is. And not only the power play, the special teams in general. So that includes the PK percentage. This year so far, they are 29th in PK percentage, with 73.6%. So not as bad as their power play, but they're still down there. Last year, the Ducks were 23rd in power play percentage. So they had a much, much better power play last year. Do not know what happened this year, other than they kept doing the same exact thing, expecting different results, which, if you do know, that might be the definition of insanity, but don't tell anyone I told you. And they were 31st in the PK percentage with 72.4%. So the percentage not much higher increase this year on the PK, but they are a couple spots up. So a little bit of growth there in the PK percent. And right now, the Ducks are 20th in shots per game with an average of 27.81. Last year, they were 29th with 26.76. So this is where I'm saying the shots are not that high this year across the league, because for them to make a 9 position jump with not even a not even an entire, almost an 1.2, 1.1 shot higher than last year. And last year they were 29th. This year they're 20th. That just shows the shots are way down. However, the scoring has been a lot more accurate across the board. Very unfortunate for the Ducks this year, because it looks like they're bringing the heat as they're the 20th in creating offense, but actually finishing, not so much. This year, the Ducks are 9th in save percentage. That goes to show, with Dostal being the 9th ranked goaltender, they are the 9th in save percentage as well, as when Gibson was healthy and performs well. He's pretty up there. They were at 9-11 and 9-10 for a while, but the percentage kind of slipped for both at the last couple months. Last year, the Ducks were 28th with a .890 percentage. So the saves have been way, way better this year. The Ducks have been bringing it from going from 28th to 9th place. That just shows exactly who kept the Ducks in playoff contention for as long as they were. The goaltenders, Lukáš Dostál, John Gibson, they were literally the backbone of the team this year. Last year, this is more just kind of looking at the team as a whole, not really percentages across the or rankings across the league, but just for the team. Last year, there were only 2 goal scorers to get to 20, and that was Troy Terry and Frank Vatrano. Frank Vatrano led the team with 37 goals last year. This year, so far, there are 4 with 20 or more goals. 4. That's a massive improvement to get that many more guys breaking 20 goals this year. Has been really fun to watch. A lot of the younger cats too, part of that group. So, and now Mason McTavish leading with 21. Obviously, we didn't have a flash in the pan type player this year like Vatrano was last year, getting 37. But overall, there's been a solid amount of goal scoring across the board for the team this year, which that just generates more wealth for next year. To have that many more guys breaking that 20 mark, it's just going to keep increasing. Last year, the Ducks only had 5 skaters with 40 or more points. So 5 skaters with 40 or more points. And that was Ryan Strome, Adam Henrique, which surprisingly, I checked it, he got 40 points before the trade to Edmonton. So in 60 games played with Anaheim, he had 40 points. Adam Henrique was a point machine last year for the Ducks. It's very unfortunate that we lost him, but he's doing great things out there in Edmonton. Really enjoyed watching his playoff race. It's kind of ironic. The Edmonton Oilers are really just the Western Canadian teams are like all former Ducks. We're like playing at least 2 or 3 of our former players every time they play a Canadian team, it seems like, or at least the Western Canadian teams. But moving on, this year the Ducks have 7 skaters with 40 or more points. So they went from 5 to 7. And this year, the skaters so far are Ryan Strome, Cutter Gauthier, Leo Carlson, Frank Vatrano, Jackson Lacombe, Mason McTavish, and Troy Terry. Last year, Cam Fowler, he led all defensemen last year. Okay, listen to this number real quick. Cam Fowler, the man, the myth, the legend of the Anaheim Ducks, he led the entire defenseman core with 39 points last year. This year, Jackson Lacombe. Remember, Jackson Lacombe, this is his only like his second season. This is his first full season with Anaheim. 50 points so far. To have that with his age and the way he's been playing, he's almost doubled the points that Fowler had last year. Almost doubled. I'll give him too much credit, but 58 versus 39. And to be a younger guy, he has been killing it. And that's just so far. We still got games. So we'll see if he gets above 50. And last year, 7 skaters had more than 30 points. This year, 9 so far have 30 or more this year. And Trevor Zegras just got into that space with a couple assists. So he finally gets to 30, and we have 9. The Ducks have 9 skaters with 30 or more points. So there's a lot of improvement, about 2 skaters per category more that the Ducks have been getting offense out of. So there's just goes to show that this younger core is finally getting their skates under them. They're getting the NHL figured out, and they're starting to play really well. Verbeek did mention that when players do get to that point, though, other teams start to play a little bit harder against them, but that's okay because they've been here. Now they've seen it. They're going to know to go get stronger. They're going to know where to improve, and they've improved as a core group and as a locker room. The personalities, the connections, all the things that create a winning team are starting to really come together, and it's just going to be that much more exciting to watch next year. And depending on how things go and how Pat Verbeek treats the offseason, who knows what kind of season we'll be in for as Anaheim Ducks fans. But I can tell you that you will be in for Locked On Anaheim Ducks every day, coming your direction, not leaving you, not going away. Thank you for making Locked On Anaheim Ducks your first listen today. For your second listen, check out the all new Locked On NHL Game Night. Those guys over there are so excited to bring you new content every game, every night until a Stanley Cup champion is crowned. Get local access on a national scale. Find NHL Game Night on Locked On NHL on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. So make sure you go like, subscribe, share. If you're listening in, go to the YouTube, subscribe to the channel. It helps everyone out here at Locked On. We thank you so much. I thank you so much. And my name is Kyle Carr. Be good out there.